At 3:17 in the morning, Julian woke up crying. For a few seconds, he didn't know where he was. The room was dark. The ceiling fan turned slowly above him. A car passed somewhere outside. Then he remembered. His mother had died. Not in real life. In the dream he'd just left. He could still see the hospital corridor. The fluorescent lights, his mother's hand slipping away from his. He could still feel the panic in his chest. Then he woke up. His mother was alive. Nothing had happened. Julian knew that, but his heart was still beating as though it had. He picked up his phone. 3:17. He stared at the screen, then whispered, "Just a dream." But one question wouldn't leave him alone. If the dream wasn't real, why was the fear? And more importantly, what makes us so certain that the world we woke up into is fundamentally different? You probably don't think about this while making coffee. You trust the floor beneath your feet. You trust the room around you. You trust the people you love. You make plans for next year without wondering whether the world will still look the same. And yet, everything you experience is changing. Your body, your thoughts, your relationships, your ambitions, even your personality. The person you were 10 years ago is almost gone. And still, every morning, you wake up with the feeling that you are the same person. Moving through all of it, something seems to remain. This strange problem is at the heart of an ancient Indian story about a queen named Lila. Her story begins with grief and ends with a very uncomfortable question about reality. Lila loved her husband deeply. When he died, she couldn't accept that he was simply gone. She knew death was part of life. Knowing it didn't make losing him easier. So she prayed for an answer. In the story, Saraswati appears to her. Saraswati is a goddess associated with knowledge, learning, language, music, and wisdom. She doesn't simply bring Leela's husband back. Instead, she shows Leela something stranger. Her husband is living another life. He has another identity, another kingdom, another history, another world. Leela is confused. How can he be alive when she watched him die? Then she is shown that this other world exists within consciousness, and inside that world are still more worlds, worlds within worlds, lives inside lives. Time doesn't behave the way she expects. What feels like years in one world can be only moments from another perspective. Leela slowly realizes that the reality she thought was complete may be only one layer of experience. And that is when the story becomes much more than an ancient tale about another universe. Because you experience a smaller version of this every day. Someone sends you a message. Can we talk later? 5 words, that's all. But within seconds, your mind creates an entire future. Did I do something wrong? Are they angry? Am I about to lose something? You haven't received any of those answers, but your body is already reacting. Your heart speeds up. Your stomach tightens. You start suffering inside a future that doesn't exist. The message was real. The story your mind built around it was something else. Or think about an embarrassing moment from 5 years ago. You're sitting alone. Nothing is happening. The event is over. The person may not even remember it. Yet your body reacts as though you're back there. The event disappeared. The emotional experience survived. This is one of the reasons the ancient dream metaphor is so interesting. A dream can produce real fear, even when the thing you're afraid of isn't physically there. You can wake up sweating from a nightmare. You can wake up happy from a beautiful dream. The experience was real to you while it was happening. So the ancient question becomes, what exactly do we mean when we call something real? The Indian philosophical traditions had a powerful answer to one part of this problem. They noticed that human beings don't experience reality directly. We experience reality through layers of memory, expectation, desire, fear, and habit. You don't simply see an event, you interpret it, and then you react to your interpretation. Imagine someone criticizes your work. The first fact is simple. They criticized your work, but your mind may immediately add, I'm not good enough. They don't respect me. I always fail. I'll never succeed. Now you're no longer dealing with one event. You're dealing with an entire story. The ancient thinkers had a word for some of these accumulated patterns, vasana. In simple terms, these are deep mental tendencies formed by repeated experience. If you repeatedly expect rejection, rejection becomes easier to see. If you repeatedly expect failure, every mistake looks like proof. If you repeatedly tell yourself you're not good enough, ordinary setbacks begin to confirm the story. The world hasn't necessarily changed. Your way of seeing it has. There's another related idea, sanskar. You can think of these as impressions left behind by repeated thoughts, experiences, and actions. Someone criticizes you. You become defensive. It happens again. You become defensive again. After years of repetition, the reaction can happen before you've even decided whether the criticism is fair. The mind has learned a path, and now it walks that path automatically. This doesn't mean reality is imaginary. It means your experience of reality is shaped by what you have carried into the moment. That distinction matters.
The ancient text Yoga Vasistha uses the dream metaphor to explore this problem. A dream can feel completely real while you're inside it. You can run from danger. Your heart can race. You can experience love. You can experience grief. You can wake up sweating. The object in the dream may not exist outside it, but the experience happened. So the ancient question becomes, if a dream can produce real fear without having a permanent external object, what exactly are we using as our definition of reality? This is where the idea of a long dream becomes useful. The waking world may be likened to a long dream because it constantly appears and disappears. People appear in your life, then they leave. Your body appears, then changes. Your plans appear, then fail. Your emotions arise, then disappear. Your entire childhood once felt like your present reality. Now it exists mostly as memory. The world continues, but nothing you can hold remains exactly as it was. The question isn't necessarily, is the world fake? The more careful question is, why do I treat temporary appearances as though they were permanent? This is where the ancient idea of Maya enters. Maya is often translated as illusion. That translation can create confusion. It simply means that nothing exists. If you step in front of a moving car, the consequences are real. If someone you love dies, the grief is real. If you break your leg, you don't fix it by saying, everything is an illusion. The idea is subtler. Maya points toward the difference between what appears and what we assume that appearance ultimately is. Think about a gold bracelet. You see a bracelet. A jeweler sees gold. The shape is temporary. It can be melted down and turned into something else. The bracelet disappears. The gold remains. Indian philosophy uses examples like this to ask whether we are making the same mistake with everything else. We see separate objects, separate people, separate identities, separate experiences. But what if the names and forms we see aren't the whole story?
Advaita Vedanta, one of India's major philosophical traditions, takes this question to its deepest level. It asks, what is the reality underneath everything that changes? Its answer is Brahman. For a global audience, it helps to understand what this does not mean. Brahman is not simply an old Indian word for a man like God sitting somewhere above the universe. In this philosophy, it refers to ultimate reality itself, the reality underlying all changing appearances. You don't have to accept that answer immediately. In fact, the tradition asks you to investigate it for yourself. Look at your body. It has changed since childhood. Look at your thoughts. They change every few seconds. Look at your emotions. They come and go. Look at your identity. Even that changes, yet you are aware of all these changes. So what is this awareness that knows them? But there's a trap here. You can hear all of this and decide that nothing matters. Your relationship ends. Everything is temporary. You lose your job. It's all an illusion. Someone hurts you. Attachment is the problem. That can sound philosophical. It can also become an excuse to stop caring. The ancient teaching wasn't asking you to become emotionally numb. It was asking you to stop demanding permanence from things that are temporary. There's a difference. You can love someone deeply without believing you own them. You can enjoy success without making success responsible for your identity. You can grieve without deciding that your life is ruined. You can care without clinging. This is the spirit behind Vairagya, often translated as detachment, but perhaps freedom from compulsive attachment is closer to what matters here. Julian began to understand this at his mother's kitchen table. She was telling him a long, ordinary story. He had heard versions of it before. Normally, he would have checked his phone. This time he didn't. He watched her speak. He noticed her hands moving as she talked. He noticed the pauses, the little laugh she gave before reaching the end of the story. Then he remembered the dream, the hospital, the grief, the moment he thought she was gone. But this time, the memory didn't make him panic. It made him pay attention. His mother was still there, still talking, still laughing. Julian put his phone down and listened. Nothing supernatural happened. The room didn't dissolve. He didn't suddenly understand the universe. He simply became more present. And perhaps that is where the ancient story becomes useful. You don't have to decide that the universe is literally a dream. You don't have to believe that everything is an illusion. You can begin with something much simpler. Notice how quickly your mind turns an event into a story. A failed interview becomes, I'm a failure. A breakup becomes, I'm unlovable. A friend's success becomes, I'm falling behind. A criticism becomes, there's something wrong with me. The event happens, then your mind adds another layer. And sometimes that second layer causes more suffering than the event itself. So the next time something happens, try separating the fact from the story. What actually happened? What am I adding to it? What am I afraid this means about me? And then ask one more question. Who is aware of all of this? Maybe the point of the long dream isn't to convince you that the world is fake. Maybe it is asking you to wake up to the way you experience the world. Your thoughts change, your emotions change, your body changes, your relationships change, your circumstances change. Everything you can point to keeps moving, and yet, somehow, you're aware of the movement. That is the mystery the ancient philosophers wanted you to investigate. Not by escaping your life, not by becoming detached from everyone you love, but by looking more carefully. When fear appears, notice it. When jealousy appears, notice it. When your mind predicts disaster, ask what is actually happening right now. When something beautiful happens, enjoy it without demanding that it last forever. When someone you love is sitting across from you, put the phone down. Look at them. Listen. Because maybe waking up doesn't mean leaving the dream. Maybe it means realizing that you were never required to believe every story the dream told you. And perhaps the deepest question isn't, is reality just a long dream? Perhaps it is this: who is the one watching it? You don't need to answer tonight. Just notice that you're here, thinking, feeling, watching, and wondering.